Before we begin, a word. Every voice you are about to hear could belong to a real person, and the next one could be yours. Claim a part and read it aloud at Footnotes and Folly. Click. Good evening, and welcome to Footnotes and Folly. I am Professor Reginald St. John Pemberton, and tonight we open the strangest war story Shakespeare ever told, Troilus and Cressida. We give you the whole of it, complete and unabridged, in clear modern English. The plain rendering and the asides are my own. This is part 1. Understand what you are in, for this is the Trojan War. Achilles, Hector, Helen, the faces that launched 1,000 schoolbooks with the heroism carefully removed. 7 years into the siege, the Greeks sit in their tents and quarrel, the Trojans sit behind their walls and debate, and the great Achilles will not fight at all. He lounges in his tent and laughs at his commanders. Meanwhile a young Trojan prince, Troilus, is so lovesick for the lady Cressida that he can scarcely hold a lance, and her uncle Pandarus, a man whose name would become a profession, bustles about to bring them together. Watch the idols closely tonight, every one of them has feet of clay. Let us begin.
The scene is Troy. From the islands of Greece, proud princes, their noble blood stirred to anger, have sent their ships to the port of Athens, loaded with the servants and weapons of cruel war. 69 rulers wearing royal coronets set out from the Athenian bay toward Phrygia. They have sworn to sack Troy, whose strong walls hold stolen Helen, queen of Menelaus, sleeping wantonly with Paris, and that is the cause of the war. They reach Tenedos, where their deep-sailing ships unload their warlike cargo. Now on the plains of Dardan, the fresh and still unbattered Greeks pitch their splendid tents. Priam's 6, gated city, Dardan and Timbria, Ilias, Chetus, Troyan and Antinorides, with heavy staples and matching, fastening bolts, rouses the sons of Troy. Now expectation, teasing restless spirits on both sides, Trojan and Greek, sets everything at risk. I come here as an armed prologue, not trusting in the author's pen or the actor's voice, but dressed to match our argument, to tell you, fair spectators, that our play leaps over the beginning and first outbreaks of these conflicts. Starts in the middle and moves from there to what can be contained in a play. Like it or criticize it, do as you please. Good or bad, it is only the chance of war.
That swaggering prologue is already a little suspicious. Shakespeare begins, as epic poets do, in the middle of things, but this is Homer seen through late, medieval spectacles. The war comes from the Iliad, newly fashionable in George Chapman's 1598 Englishing, while Troilus and Cressida's love affair is no Homeric inheritance at all.
Troilus enters armed with Pandarus, before Priam's palace. Call my servant here. I will take off my armor again. Why should I go to war outside the walls of Troy when I find such a cruel battle here inside myself? Let every Trojan who is master of his own heart go to the field. Troilus, alas, has no heart of his own. Will this business never be fixed? The Greeks are strong and skilled in using their strength, fierce in their skill and brave in their fierceness. But I am weaker than a woman's tear, tamer than sleep, more foolish than ignorance, less brave than a virgin in the night, and as unskilled as an untrained child. Well, I have told you enough about this. For my part, I will not meddle or get involved any further. A man who wants a cake from wheat must wait for the grinding. Have I not waited? Yes, for the grinding, but you must wait for the sifting. Have I not waited? Yes, for the sifting, but you must wait for the leavening. Still, I have waited. Yes, up to the leavening, but in the word hereafter there is still the kneading, the making of the cake, the heating of the oven, and the baking. No, you must wait for the cooling too, where you may burn your lips. Patience herself, whatever goddess she may be, flinches less under suffering than I do. I sit at Priam's royal table, and when fair Cressida comes into my thoughts, traitor that I am to say when she comes. When is she ever absent? Well, last night she looked fairer than I ever saw her look or any woman else. I was about to tell you, when my heart, wedged tight with a sigh, was ready to split in two, afraid Hector or my father might notice me, I buried that sigh in the wrinkle of a smile, as the sun lights up a storm. The sorrow hidden under the appearance of gladness is like the joy that fate turns suddenly to sadness. If her hair were not somewhat darker than Helen's, well, come now, there would be no comparison between the women. But for my part, she is my kinswoman. I would not, as they say, praise her, but I wish somebody had heard her talk yesterday as I did. I will not speak badly of your sister Cassandra's wit, but— oh, Pandarus! I tell you, Pandarus, when I tell you that my hopes lie drowned there, do not answer by telling me in how many fathoms deep they are sunk. I tell you I am mad with love for Cressida. You answer she is fair, and pour into the open wound of my heart her eyes, her hair, her cheek, her walk, her voice, handling them all in your talk. Oh, her hand! Compared with it, every white thing is ink writing its own disgrace. Beside its soft touch, Cygnet's down is rough, and the spirit of sensation itself is hard as a ploughman's palm. This is what you tell me, and you tell me truly, when I say I love her. But by saying this, instead of oil and balm, you lay into every gash love has given me the very knife that made it. I speak no more than the truth. You do not speak even that much. Faith, I will not meddle in it. Let her be as she is. If she is fair, that is the better for her, and if she is not, she has the remedy in her own hands. Good Pandarus. What now, Pandarus? I have had only labor for my trouble, thought badly of by her, and thought badly of by you. I have gone between you both, and gotten small thanks for my work. What are you angry, Pandarus? What with me? Because she is related to me, therefore she is not as fair as Helen. If she were not related to me, she would be as fair on Friday as Helen is on Sunday. But what do I care? I would not care if she were a blackamoor. It is all one to me. Do I say she is not fair? I do not care whether you do or not. She is a fool to stay behind her father. Let her go to the Greeks, and that is what I will tell her the next time I see her. For my part, I will meddle or get involved no more in the matter. Pandarus. Not I. Sweet Pandarus. Please speak no more to me. I will leave everything as I found it, and there is an end. Pandarus exits. An alarm sounds. Peace, you graceless clamors. Peace, rude noises. Fools on both sides. Helen must indeed be fair when you paint her so daily with your blood. I cannot fight over this argument. It is too starved a subject for my sword. But Pandarus, O gods, how you torment me! I cannot come to Cressida except through Pandar, and he is as touchy about being wooed to woo as she is stubbornly chaste against every suit. Tell me, Apollo, for your love of Daphne, what is Cressida, what is Pandar, and what are we? Her bed is India, where she lies like a pearl. Between our Ilium and the place where she lives, let there be called a wild and wandering sea. Let me be the merchant, and this sailing Pand are our uncertain hope, our convoy, and our ship. An alarm sounds. Aeneas enters. What now, Prince Troilus? Why are you not in the field? Because I am not there. That is a woman's answer, fitting because it is womanish to be away from there. What news, Aeneas, from the field today? Paris has returned home wounded. By whom, Aeneas? Troilus, by Menelaus. Let Paris bleed. It is only a scar fit for scorn. Paris is gored by Menelaus' horn. An alarm sounds. Listen, what fine sport is outside the town today. There would be better sport at home if I wish I could where I may. But to the sport abroad. Are you going there? With all swift haste. Come then, let us go together. They exit. On the street in Troy, Cressida enters with her servant Alexander. Who just went by? Queen Hecuba and Helen. And where are they going? Up to the eastern tower, whose height looks down over the whole valley, to watch the battle. Hector, whose patience is usually fixed like a virtue, was stirred today. He scolded Andromache and struck his armor, and as if war were a field to be farmed, he was lightly armed before sunrise and went out to battle. Every flower seemed to weep like a prophet for what it foresaw in Hector's anger. What made him angry? Story is this. Among the Greeks there is a lord of Trojan blood, Hector's nephew. They call him Ajax. Good. And what of him? They say he is a man all by himself and stands alone. So do all men unless they are drunk, sick, or have no legs. This man, lady, has robbed many beasts of their special qualities. He is as brave as a lion, as surly as a bear, as slow as an elephant, a man into whom nature has crowded so many temperaments that his courage is squeezed into foolishness, and his foolishness is seasoned with judgment. No man has a virtue that Ajax does not show a little of, and no man has a fault without Ajax carrying some stain of it. He is gloomy without cause and merry against all reason. He has the joints of everything, but everything is so out of joint that he is like a gouty Briareus, many hands and no use, or a half-blind Argus, all eyes and no sight.
Ajax, you notice, enters before he enters a catalogue of borrowed animal parts and misfiring virtues. Shakespeare is already flattening the heroic poster. This is the Trojan War as gossip column and anatomy lesson. Even the champions arrive second-hand, over-described by people who quite possibly understand neither war nor men, which is a useful qualification for both.
But how should this man, who makes me smile, make Hector angry? They say that yesterday he met Hector in battle and struck him down. The scorn and shame of that have kept Hector fasting and awake ever since. Pandarus enters. Who comes here? Madam, your uncle Pandarus. Hector is a gallant man. As gallant as any in the world, lady. What is that? What is that? Good morning, Uncle Pandarus. Good morning, Cousin Cressida. What are you talking about? Good morning, Alexander. How are you, cousin? When were you at Ilium? This morning, uncle. What were you talking about when I came? Was Hector armed and gone before you came to Ilium? Helen was not up, was she? Hector was gone, but Helen was not up. Just so. Hector was up early. That is what we were talking about, and about his anger. Was he angry? So he says here. True, he was. I know the cause, too. He will strike hard today, I can tell them that. And Troilus will not come far behind him. Let them beware of Troilus, I can tell them that, too. What is he angry to? Who, Troilus? Troilus is the better man of the two. O Jupiter! There is no comparison. What none between Troilus and Hector? Do you know a man when you see him? Yes, if I have seen him before and know him. Well, I say Troilus is Troilus. Then you say what I say, for I am sure he is not Hector. No, and Hector is not Troilus in some degrees. That is fair to each of them, each is himself. Himself. Alas, poor Troilus. I wish he were. So he is. On condition I had gone barefoot to India. He is not Hector. Himself. No, he is not himself. I wish he were himself. Well, the gods are above. Time must either befriend us or end us. Well, Troilus, well. I wish my heart were in her body. No, Hector is not a better man than Troilus. Excuse me. He is older. Pardon me, pardon me. The other has not come into his full measure yet. You will tell me another story when the other has come to it. Hector will not have his wit this year. He will not need it if he has his own. Nor his qualities. No matter. Nor his beauty. It would not suit him. His own is better. You have no judgment, niece. Helen herself swore the other day that Troilus, for a brown complexion, for so it is, I must confess, not brown either. No, but brown. Faith, to tell the truth, brown and not brown. To tell the truth, true and not true. She praised his complexion above Paris's. Why, Paris has color enough. So he has. Then Troilus must have too much. If she praised him above Paris, his complexion is higher than his, Paris having color enough, and the other higher, makes the too flaming a praise for a good complexion. I would just as soon Helen's golden tongue had praised Troilus for a copper nose. I swear to you, I think Helen loves him better than Paris. Then she is a merry Greek indeed. No, I am sure she does. She came to him the other day in the bowed window, and you know he has hardly 3 or 4 hairs on his chin. Indeed, a tapster's arithmetic could soon count every one of them. Why, he is very young, and yet within 3 pounds he can lift as much as his brother Hector. Is he so young a man and so old a lifter? But to prove to you that Helen loves him, she came and laid her white hand on his cleft chin. Juno have mercy. How did it become cleft? Why, you know, it is dimpled. I think his smile becomes him better than any man's in all Phrygia. Oh, he smiles valiantly. Does he not? Oh yes, as if he were a cloud in autumn. Well then. But to prove to you that Helen loves Troilus. Troilus will stand to the proof, if that is how you will prove it. Troilus! Why, he values her no more than I value a rotten egg. If you love a rotten egg as well as you love an empty head, you would eat chickens in the shell. I cannot help laughing when I think how she tickled his chin. Truly, she has a wonderfully white hand, I must confess. Without needing torture to make you confess it. And she took it upon herself to spy a white hair on his chin. Alas, poor chin! Many a ward is richer. There was such laughing. Queen Hecuba laughed till her eyes ran over. With millstones. And Cassandra laughed. But there was a more restrained fire under the pot of her eyes. Did her eyes run over too? And Hector laughed. What was all this laughing at? Why, at the white hair that Helen spotted on Troilus's chin. If it had been a green hair, I would have laughed too. They did not laugh so much at the hair as at his pretty answer. What was his answer? She said, Here are only 50, 2 hairs on your chin, and one of them is white. That is her question. That is true, make no question of that. 50, 2 hairs, he said, and 1 white. That white hair is my father, and all the rest are his sons. Jupiter. She said, Which of these hairs is Paris, my husband? Forked one, he said. Pluck it out and give it to him. There was such laughing. Helen blushed so much, and Paris was so angry, and all the rest laughed so hard that it would be on measure.
This love plot is not Homer. Troilus and Cressida belong to the medieval imagination, reaching Shakespeare through Chaucer and the harsher tradition after him. By Shakespeare's day, Cressida already meant faithlessness, and Pandarus had already become Pandar. Our poor uncle is not merely matchmaking, he is walking toward a dictionary entry.
Then let it go by now too, for it has been a long while passing. Well, cousin, I told you something yesterday. Think about it. I do. I will swear it is true. He will weep over you as if he were a man born in April, and I will spring up in his tears like a nettle against May. A retreat is sounded. Listen. They are coming from the field. Shall we stand up here and see them as they pass toward Ilium? Good niece, do, sweet niece Cressida. As you please. Here is an excellent place. From here we may see splendidly. I will tell you all their names as they pass by, but mark Troilus above the rest. Aeneas passes. Do not speak so loud. That is Aeneas. Is that not a brave man? He is one of the flowers of Troy, I can tell you. But mark Troilus, you shall see soon. Antenor passes. Who is that? That is Antenor. He has a sharp wit, I can tell you, and he is a good enough man. He is one of the soundest judgments in Troy, whoever else may be, and a proper man in person. When does Troilus come? I will show you Troilus soon. If he sees me, you shall see him nod to me. Will he give you the nod? You shall see. If he does, the rich shall have more. Hector passes. That is Hector, that one, look, that one. There is a fellow. Go your way, Hector. There is a brave man, niece. Oh, brave Hector. Look how he looks. There is a face. Is he not a brave man? Oh, a brave man. Is he not? It does a man's heart good. Look at the cuts on his helmet. Look over there, do you see? Look there. There is no joking, there is hard striking. Take it off who can, as they say. Those are cuts. Were those made with swords? Swords. Anything. He does not care. If the devil came at him, it would be all one. By God's eyelid, it does one's heart good. Yonder comes Paris, yonder comes Paris. Paris passes. Look over there, niece. Is he not a gallant man too, is he not? Why, this is brave now. Who said he came home hurt today? He is not hurt. Why, this will do Helen's heart good now, ha! I wish I could see Troilus now. You shall see Troilus soon. Helenus passes. Who is that? That is Helenus. I wonder where Troilus is. That is Helenus. I think he did not go out today. That is Helenus. Can Helenus fight, uncle? Helenus? No. Yes, he can fight passably well. I wonder where Troilus is. Listen. Do you not hear the people cry Troilus? Helenus is a priest. What sneaking fellow comes yonder? Troilus passes. Where? Yonder? That is Deiphobus. It is Troilus. There is a man, niece. Hem. Brave Troilus, the prince of chivalry. Peace for shame, peace. Mark him, note him. O brave Troilus. Look well at him, niece. Look how his sword is bloodied, and his helmet more hacked than Hector's, and how he looks, and how he walks. O admirable youth. He has never seen 23. Go your way, Troilus, go your way. If I had a sister who was a Grace, or a daughter who was a goddess, he should take his choice. O admirable man. Paris? Paris is dirt compared with him, and I warrant Helen, to make the exchange, would give an eye besides. Here comes more. Common soldiers pass. Asses, fools, dolts. Chaff and bran, chaff and bran. Porridge after meat. I could live and die in the eyes of Troilus. Do not look, the eagles are gone. Crows and jackdaws, crows and jackdaws. I would rather be such a man as Troilus than Agamemnon in all Greece. There is among the Greeks Achilles, a better man than Troilus. Achilles? A wagon driver, a porter, a mere camel. Well, well. Well, well. Why, have you any judgment? Have you any eyes? Do you know what a man is? Are not birth, beauty, good shape, conversation, manhood, learning, gentleness, virtue, youth, generosity, and such things the spice and salt that season a man? Yes, a minced man, and then baked with no date in the pie, for then the man's date is out. You are such a woman. A man cannot know where your guard lies. On my back to defend my belly, on my wit to defend my tricks, on my secrecy to defend my honesty, on my mask to defend my beauty, and on you to defend all these. At all these guards I lie with 1,000 watches. Name one of your watches. No, I will watch you for that, and that is one of the chiefest of them too. If I cannot guard against what I would not have hit, I can watch you so you do not tell how I took the blow, unless it swells past hiding, that it is past watching. You are just such another. Troilus's boy enters. Sir, my lord would speak with you at once. Where? At your own house. He is taking off his armor there. Good boy, tell him I am coming. The boy exits. I fear he may be hurt. Farewell, good niece. Goodbye, uncle. I will be with you, niece, very soon. To bring uncle? Yes, a token from Troilus. Pandarus exits. By that same token, you are a pander. Words, vows, gifts, tears, and love's full sacrifice he offers in another person's cause, but I see 1,000 times more in Troilus than can appear in the mirror of Pandarus's praise. Still I hold back. Women are angels while men are wooing them. Once won, they are done with. The soul of pleasure lies in the pursuit. The beloved woman knows nothing if she does not know this. Men prize the thing not gained more than it is worth. No woman ever yet knew love gained to be as sweet as love still begging for desire. Therefore from love I teach this maxim. Achievement commands, the ungained beseeches. So though my heart bears firm love and full content, none of that shall appear in my eyes. Cressida exits. Trumpets sound. Agamemnon enters with Nestor, Ulysses, Diomedes, Menelaus, and others before Agamemnon's tent in the Grecian camp. Princes, what grief has spread this yellow sickness over your faces? Hope makes large promises in every enterprise begun here on earth, yet often fails to deliver all it promised. Checks and disasters grow in the veins of the highest raised actions, as knots, formed where streams of sap meet, infect the healthy pine and twist its grain aside from its proper course of growth. Nor is it new to us, princes, that we fall so far short of what we imagined. After 7 years' siege, the walls of Troy still stand. Every action recorded before our time has met trial, bias, and resistance, not answering the aim or the bodiless image of thought that first gave it imagined shape. Why then, princes, do you look with ashamed faces on our work and call it disgrace? In truth, it is nothing but the long testing of great Jove, meant to find enduring constancy in men. The fineness of that metal is not found when fortune loves us, then the bold and the coward, the wise and the fool, The trained and the ignorant, the hard and the soft, all seem alike and kin. But in the wind and storm of fortune's frown, distinction, with a broad and powerful fan, blows on all and winnows the light stuff away, and whatever has weight or substance in itself lies rich in virtue and unmixed. With due respect for your godlike seat, great Agamemnon, Nestor will apply your last words. In the rebuke of chance lies the true proof of men. When the sea is smooth, how many shallow toy boats dare sail on her patient breast, keeping company with vessels of nobler bulk? But let rough Boreas once enrage gentle Thetis, and at once you see the strong, ribbed ship cut through liquid mountains, bounding between sea and sky like Perseus' horse. Where then is the saucy little boat whose weak, unbuilt sides only just now rivaled greatness? Either fled to harbor, or made into Neptune's toast. So the show of valor and the worth of valor part company in storms of fortune. In her sunlight and brightness, a herd may be more troubled by a gadfly than by a tiger. But when the splitting wind bends the knees of knotted oaks, and flying creatures run under shade, then the truly courageous thing, roused by rage, sympathizes with rage, and with an accent tuned in the same key answers scolding fortune back. Agamemnon, great commander, nerve and bone of Greece, heart of our numbers, soul and single spirit in whom the tempers and minds of all should be enclosed, hear what Ulysses says. Besides the applause and approval I give to both your speeches, most mighty Agamemnon, for your place and power, and you, most reverend Nestor, for your long life, speeches such as Agamemnon and the hand of Greece should hold up high in brass, and such as venerable Nestor, hatched in silver, should bind all Greek ears to his experienced tongue with a bond of air as strong as the axle on which heaven rides. Yet let it please you both, great and wise, to hear Ulysses speak. Speak, Prince of Ithaca. We are less likely to expect needless matter and weightless burden to pass your lips than we are confident that when rank their cities opens his chewing jaws, we shall hear music, wit, and prophecy. Troy, still standing on its foundation, would have fallen by now, and great Hector's sword would have lacked a master, except for these facts. The special authority of command has been neglected. Look how many Grecian tents stand hollow on this plain. Just so many hollow factions stand here. When the general is not like the hive to which all foragers should return, what honey can be expected? When degree is masked, the unworthiest looks as fair as any in the disguise. The heavens themselves, the planets, and the center earth observe degree, priority, and place, fixed position, course, proportion, season, form, office, and custom in every line of order. Therefore the glorious planet Sol is enthroned and set in noble eminence among the others. His healing eye corrects the influence of evil planets and moves, like the commandment of a king, without check, over good and bad alike. But when the planets wander in evil mixture and disorder, what plagues, what portents, what mutiny, what raging of the sea, shaking of the earth, turmoil in the winds. Fears, changes, horrors, twist and crack, tear and uproot the unity and wedded calm of states quite from their fixed place. Oh, when degree is shaken, which is the ladder of all high designs, the enterprise is sick. How could communities, ranks and schools, brotherhoods and cities, peaceful trade from divided shores, the firstborn's right and due of birth, the privilege of age, crowns, scepters, laurels, stand in their proper and lawful place except by degree? Take but degree away, untune that string, and hark what discord follows. Each thing dissolves into mere opposition. The bounded waters would lift their breasts higher than the shores and soak the solid globe, strength would become lord over weakness, and the rude son would strike his father dead. Force would be right, or rather, right and wrong, between whose endless quarrel justice lives would lose their names, and justice would lose hers too. Then everything is swallowed into power, power into will into appetite, and appetite, a universal wolf, so doubly seconded by will and power, must make a universal prey by force and last eat up himself. Great Agamemnon, this chaos follows when degree is smothered, and it is this neglect of degree that moves backwards step by step, while meaning to climb. The general is disdained by the man one step below him, he by the next, and that next by the man beneath him. So every step, following the first step that is sick of its superior, grows into an envious fever of pale and bloodless rivalry. It is this fever that keeps Troy on foot, not her own strength. To end a long tale, Troy stands in our weakness, not in her strength.
Notice the silk glove on Ulysses' political fist. This famous speech about degree, order, and hierarchy is often lifted out as pure Elizabethan doctrine. But here it is a tool. He is preparing a rigged contest to manage two vain warriors. Cosmic order, in this camp, has become office stationery.
Most wisely has Ulysses here uncovered the fever that makes all our power sick. Since the nature of the sickness has been found, Ulysses, what is the remedy? Great Achilles, whom public opinion crowns as the sinew and foremost strength of our army, with his ear full of his airy fame, has grown delicate about his worth, and lies in his tent mocking our plans. With him Patroclus, on a lazy bed all day long, breaks out in filthy jokes. With ridiculous and awkward action, which he, slanderer that he is, calls imitation, he puts us in a pageant. Sometimes, great Agamemnon, he takes on your unsurpassed authority, and like a strutting actor whose invention lies in his hamstring, and who thinks it rich to hear the wooden dialogue and thump between his stretch tout foot and the stage boards, he acts your greatness in such pitiful and overstrained fashion. When he speaks, it is like a chime being mended. His terms are so misshapen that even if they dropped from the tongue of roaring Typhon, they would seem like exaggerations. At this stale stuff, huge Achilles, lounging on his pressed bed, laughs loud applause from his deep chest and cries, "Excellent! That is Agamemnon exactly. Now play me Nestor, hem and stroke your beard as if dressed for some speech. That is done as nearly alike as the farthest ends of parallel lines, as like as Vulcan and his wife, yet godlike Achilles still cries, "Excellent!" That is Nestor exactly. Now play him for me, Patroclus, arming to answer an idle arm. Then truly the faint defects of age must become the scene of mirth, coughing and spitting, fumbling with shaking hands at his gorget, shaking a rivet in and out. At this sport Sir Valor dies with laughter, crying, "Oh, enough, Patroclus, or give me ribs of steel. I shall split myself with the pleasure of my spleen." In this fashion all our abilities, gifts, natures, shapes, individual and general graces, achievements, plots, orders, preventions, stirrings toward the field or speeches for truce, success or loss, what is or is not, serve as material for these two to make paradoxes. And through the imitation of these two, who, as Ulysses says, are crowned by opinion with an imperial voice, many are infected. Ajax has grown self-willed and carries his head on so proud a rein, in as high a place as broad Achilles. He keeps to his tent like him, holds factional feasts, rails at our conduct of the war as boldly as an oracle, and sets their cities, a slave whose gall coins slanders like a mint, to compare us with dirt, to weaken and discredit our exposure, however thickly it is surrounded with danger. They criticize our policy and call it cowardice, count wisdom as no part of war, mock foresight, and value no action except the action of the hand. The quiet, mental parts that devise how many hands shall strike when fitness calls them on, and know, by the measure of watchful labor, the weight of the enemy, why this is given not even a finger's dignity. They call it bed, work map, work closet war. So the ram that batters down the wall, because of the great swing and rude weight of its force, they place above the hand that made the engine, or above those who, with the fineness of their souls, guide its use by reason. Grant that, and Achilles' horse makes many sons of Thetis. A trumpet sounds. What trumpet? Look, Menelaus. From Troy. Aeneas enters. What do you want before our tent? Is this great Agamemnon's tent, I pray you? It is. May one who is both herald and prince deliver a fair message to his kingly eyes. A safety stronger than Achilles' arm before all the Greekish heads, who with one voice call Agamemnon their head and general. Fair permission and broad security. How may a stranger to those most imperial looks know them from the eyes of other mortals? How? Yes. I ask so that I may awaken reverence, and bid my cheek be ready with a blush as modest as morning when she looks coldly on youthful Phoebus. Which is that god in office, guiding men? Which is the high and mighty Agamemnon? This Trojan is mocking us, or the men of Troy are ceremonial courtiers. Courtiers as free, as gracious, and unarmed as bending angels, that is their fame in peace. But when they wish to seem soldiers, they have courage, good arms, strong joints, true swords, and by Jove's agreement, nothing is so full of heart. A peace, Aeneas, peace, Trojan, lay your finger on your lips. The worthiness of praise stains its own worth if the praised man brings the praise out himself, but what the grudging enemy commends, that breath blows fame. That praise alone is pure and rises above the rest. Sir, you of Troy, do you call yourself Aeneas? Yes, Greek, that is my name. What is your business, I pray you? Sir, pardon me, it is for Agamemnon's ears. He hears nothing privately that comes from Troy. Nor have I come from Troy to whisper with him. I bring a trumpet to wake his ear, set his senses in attentive readiness, and then speak. Speak as freely as the wind. It is not Agamemnon's sleeping hour. So that you shall know, Trojan, that he is awake, he tells you so himself. Trumpet blow loud. Send your brass voice through all these lazy tents, and let every Greek of metal know that what Troy means fairly shall be spoken aloud. The trumpet sounds. We have great Agamemnon in Troy, a prince called Hector, whose father is Priam. In this dull and long-continued truce he has grown restless. He ordered me to take a trumpet and speak to this purpose. Kings, princes, lords, if there is one among the fairest of Greece who holds his honor higher than his ease, who feeds his praise more than he fears his peril, who knows his valor and knows not his fear, who loves his mistress more than in truant vows confessed to her own lips, and who dares defend her beauty and her worth in arms other than hers, to him comes this challenge. Hector, in view of Trojans and Greeks, shall make it good, or do his best to make it good. He has a lady wiser, fairer, truer than any Greek ever clasped in his arms. Tomorrow, with his trumpet, he will call midway between your tents and the walls of Troy to rouse a Grecian who is true in love. If any comes, Hector shall honor him. If none comes, he will say in Troy, when he returns, that the Grecian ladies are sunburned and not worth the splinter of a lance. That is all.
For Shakespeare's English audience, Trojan pride had an extra little barb in it. Tudor myth claimed Britain descended from Brutus of Troy, great-grandson of Aeneas, and London itself could be imagined as Troynovant, New Troy. So when the Trojans are made splendid, foolish, and doomed, the national family portrait is being quietly vandalized.
This shall be told to our lovers, Lord Ennius. If none of them has a soul of that kind, then we left them all at home. But we are soldiers, and may that soldier prove a mere coward who does not mean to be, has not been, or is not in love. If then one is or has been or means to be that one meets Hector, if no one else I am he. Tell him of Nestor, one who was a man when Hector's grandsire was still at the breast. He is old now, but if there is not in our Grecian army a noble man with one spark of fire to answer for his love, tell him for me that I will hide my silver beard in a golden helmet, put these withered muscles in my arm-guard, and meeting him, will tell him that my lady was fairer than his grandmother and as chaste as any woman in the world may be. Though his youth is in full flood, I will prove this truth with my 3 drops of blood. Now may heaven prevent such a scarcity of youth. Amen. Fair Lord Ennius, let me touch your hand. I shall lead you to our pavilion, sir. Achilles shall have word of this intent, and so shall each lord of Greece, from tent to tent. You yourself shall feast with us before you go and find the welcome of a noble foe. All leave except Ulysses and Nestor. Nestor. What says Ulysses? I have a young idea in my brain. Be my time and help bring it into shape. What is it? This is it, blunt wedges split hard knots. The seated pride that has swelled to this maturity and rank Achilles must either be cut down now, or shedding seed, breed a nursery of the same evil large enough to overgrow us all. Well, and how? This challenge that gallant Hector sends, however broadly it is announced in general terms, is meant in purpose only for Achilles. True. The purpose is as clear as a substance whose bulk is summed up in little letters. In the announcement, there is no strain at all but that Achilles, even if his brain were as barren as the banks of Libya, though Apollo knows it is dry enough, will with great speed of judgment, yes, with swiftness, find Hector's purpose pointing at him. And do you think it will wake him to answer? Why, it is most fitting. Who else may you oppose who can carry off those honors from Hector, if not Achilles? Though it is a sportive combat, much reputation lives in this trial. Here the Trojans taste our dearest repute with their finest palate, and trust me, Ulysses, our standing will be strangely weighed in this low action. The result, although particular, will give a measure of good or bad to the whole. In such indexes, although they are small points before their later volumes, the baby figure of the giant mass of things to come is seen. It will be supposed that whoever meets Hector comes from our choice, and choice being the shared act of all our souls, elects by merit and boils out of us all, as it were, a man distilled from our virtues. If that man miscarries, what heart among the Trojans will not receive from it a conquering portion to steal a strong opinion of themselves? Once that opinion is entertained, their limbs become its instruments, working no less than swords and bows are directed by limbs. Pardon my speech. For that very reason it is fitting that Achilles should not meet Hector. Let us, like merchants, first show inferior wares and think perhaps they will sell. If not, the brightness of the better will surpass them by having the worst shown first. Do not consent that Hector and Achilles ever meet, for both our honor and our shame in this are followed closely by 2 strange companions. I do not see them with my old eyes. What are they? Whatever glory our Achilles shares from Hector, if he were not proud, we all would share with him, but he is already too insolent. It would be better to dry out in the African sun than in the pride and salty scorn of his eyes, should he escape Hector honorably. If he were defeated, then we crush our main reputation by staining our best man. No, make a lottery, and by design let blockish Ajax draw the lot to fight Hector. Among ourselves, give him allowance as the better man, for that will cure the great Myrmidon who broils in loud applause, and make him lower his crest, which bends prouder than blue iris. If dull brainless Ajax comes safely off, we will dress him up with voices of praise. If he fails, still we remain under our old opinion that we have better men. But hit or miss, the life of our project takes the shape of sense. Ajax employed will pluck down Achilles' plumes. Now, Ulysses, I begin to relish your advice, and I will give Agamemnon a taste of it at once. Let us go straight to him. 2 curs shall tame each other. Pride alone must set the mastiffs on, as if it were their bone. They leave.
And there we pause, at the end of the first act. Mark the ledger so far: a hero who will not fight, a general whose authority is mocked in his own camp, and Ulysses, the one cool head among the Greeks, already resolving that the cure for a proud champion is a rigged lottery, and a duller one. Hector has thrown down his challenge like a gentleman of the old school, and the Greeks propose to answer it with a fix. As for the lovers, Cressida has told us her whole strategy in one breath. She loves Troilus, and precisely for that reason she will not say so. Next time, in part 2, the city earns his beating, and Troy holds a council to decide whether Helen is actually worth the war. Listen carefully to who wins that argument, and how. Mind the footnotes, and beware the folly. One last thing before you go. There is a part on our stage still wanting a voice, and it may as well be yours. Come and read for us at footnotesandfolly.click, and be in the next telling rather than only watching it. And before the lamp goes out, a small request. If something tonight taught you, or surprised you, or simply delighted you, do leave a comment and tell me what it was. And if there is a work, an author, or a tale you should like me to take up next, set it down there as well. I read every one, and many an episode has begun its life as a viewer's suggestion. Until next time.